մասը վարչապետի թեկնածուի հետ հարցպատասխանի ընթացքում փարատվեց, բայց ամենակարևորները դեռ մնացել են անպատասխան։ Այդ հարցերն անկյունակարային են եւ ոչ թե հանրապետական կուսակցության, այլ մեր երկրի հենց վաղվա համար։ Հանրապետականը լուռ ու անպատասխան իր վրա վերցրեց մեղադրանքները, որոնք իր հետ իրականում քիչ կապ ունեին։ Վերցրեց հանուն երկրի, հանուն վաղվա հույսով, որ ովքեր պետք է ընկալեին, ընկալեցին մեր ասելիքը։ Այժմ հաշվի առնելով երկրին անհապաղ կայուն ընթացք վերադարձնելու հրամայականը, իգիտություն ընդունելով սույն թվականի մայիսի 1-ին Հայաստանի Հանրապետության ազգային ժողովում վարչապետի ընտրության գործընթացում հնչած դիրքորոշումներն ու քվեարկության արդյունքները Հայաստանի Հանրապետական կուսակցության խմբակցության անունից հայտարարում եմ։ Հայաստանի Հանրապետությունը մայիսի 8-ին ունենալու է սահմանադրական ճանապարհով ընտրված վարչապետ։ Հայաստանի Հանրապետական կուսակցությունը վարչապետի թեկնածու չի առաջադրելու։ Հայաստանի Հանրապետական կուսակցությունը խորհրդանի 1/3-ի կողմից առաջադրված թեկնածուին աջակցելու է դառնալ վարչապետ։ Կոչ ենք անում անհապաղ վերացնել տիրող անընդունելի վիճակը, բացել մայրաքաղաքի ու հանրապետության փողոցներն ու մայրուղիները, շտապ դադարեցնել օդանավականի հերթական շրջափակումը, դադարեցնել անհանդուրժողականության քարոզը և վերադառնալ սահմանադրական ճանապարհով ենթադրվող անհրաժեշտ գործողությունների դաշտ։ Հայաստանի Հանրապետական կուսակցության ղեկավար Վահրամ Բաղդասարյան։
Այսինքն Նիկոլ Փաշինյանին եք սատարելու ժողովրդի
Այդ տեսնում եք, դուք հայտարարությունից հետո նորից հարցեր եք տալի, որը շատ պարզ է։ Դու ընկալի։ Դուք ընկալեք։
Ով է լինի 1/3-ի կողմից։
1/3-ը ով որ կառաջադրվի 1/3-ի կողմից, մենք օժանդակելու ենք Հայաստանի Հանրապետությունը մայիսի 8-ին ունենա վարչապետ։
Էական չէ ով կլինի այդ թեկնածուն, պարոն Բաղդասարյան։
1/3-ի կողմից ներկայացված թեկնածուն, որը հանրապետականի թեկնածուն չի լինելու, հանրապետական կուսակցությունը թեկնածու չի առաջադրում։
Արդեն իսկ դուք գիտեք ով կարող է լինել այդ թեկնածուն, բա ինչպես կարող եք սատարել մի թեկնածուի, որը չգիտեք թե ով է լինելու, պարոն Բաղդասարյան։
Բնականաբար արդեն իսկ որ իրավիճակը այնպիսին է, որ արդեն քննարկման փուլը դուրս է եկել իր խորձանոթից եւ մենք ասում ենք, որ թող 1/3-ը 3 քաղաքական ուժերի կողմից առաջադրված թեկնածուն բերեն եւ մենք սատարենք, որպեսզի մենք արդեն նշել ենք այստեղ, որպեսզի մենք բնականon իրավիճակը վերականգնենք։
Երեք այդ նույն բանը չարեցիք, ի վերջո ունեիք այդ հնարավորությունը մայիսի 1-ին, պարոն Բաղդասարյան։
Երեք մենք արդեն այստեղ հստակ նշված է, մեզ պետք է մենք բացահայտենք այն ամենը հարց ու պատասխանի միջոցով եւ մենք այդ հարցերը բացահայտեցինք եւ այսօր արդեն մենք մայիսի 8-ին արդեն մենք այդ խնդիրներին կանրադառնում։
Բացառել, որ դա կարող է լինել Նիկոլ Փաշինյանը, հաշվի առնելով հայտարարությունը։
1/3-ի կողմից, եթե կառաջադրվի թեկնածու, մենք անուն չենք նշում, մենք այդ թեկնածուին։ Պարոն Փաշինյանին կասեք կպատասխանի։
Ձեր հայտարարությունը
Տապօգնության խնդրում եմ ստեղ մոտենալ, բժիշկ մոտենա այս դեմ արտակցի մասը։ Խաչի մոտ, արագ խնդրում եմ։ Բժիշկ հարթակի մոտ, խնդրում եմ։
Խանգարում են տալիս, հասկացա անվտանգության նկատառանությունները Հեսակի շրվեք արագ, էլի արագ,
Եվ այսպես ամփոփենք, սիրելի հեռուստադիտողներ, քիչ առաջ ավարտվեց իշխող հանրապետական խմբակցության նիստը եւ Վահրամ Բաղդասարյանը հայտարարեց, որ մայիսի 8-ին կայանալիք վարչապետի ընտրություններին իշխող հանրապետականը վարչապետի թեկնածու չի առաջադրելու։ Սա առաջին շեշտադրումը։ Երկրորդը, որը ամենաթերևս ուշագրավն է, որ հանրապետականը սատարելու է 1/3-ի կողմից, խմբակցությունների 1/3-ի կողմից առաջադրված թեկնածուին։ Թեկնածուի անուն հանրապետական հանրապետական խմբակցության ղեկավար Վահրամ Բաղդասարյանը չնշեց, բայց հետաքրքիր է, որ ասաց, իրենց համար էական չէ, 1/3-ի կողմից, որ թեկնածուն էլ որ առաջադրվի, ով էլ որ նա լինի, հանրապետականը սատարելու է այդ թեկնածուին։ Սա բավական ուշագրավ հայտարարություն է, թեև նորից շեշտում են Վահրամ Բաղդասարյանը չցանկացավ բացել փակագծերը եւ չասաց արդյոք այդ թեկնածուն Նիկոլ Փաշինյանն է։ Նա մեզ նորից ուղղեց, ասելով, որ իրենք ասում են
Welcome. Today is May 2nd, 2018. You are watching ＳիվիլΝեթ TV on YouTube. We are coming to you live from Yerevan with the next installment, of what has been taking place with these protest demonstrations, the movement, the Velvet Revolution, started by a group of activists along with Nikol Pashinyan and others. We have seen a lot of interesting days. A lot of interesting things happen over these last 2 days. And while I was going to start this off by talking about what happened yesterday in Parliament, the special session of Parliament in which Nikol Pashinyan was the candidate, and we just heard 2 big announcements have just come through just a little bit ago here in Yerevan. The first one that happened was that Gagik Zarukyan met with Nikol Pashinyan at the Marriott Hotel in Republic Square. They just had a statement that they released to the press and to the audience saying that the Zarukyan Alliance would be nominating Nikol Pashinyan to be the candidate for Prime Minister in the next election for that position, which will take place on May 8th. Now, as we mentioned, in order to put Nikol Pashinyan back in the position to be nominated, 36 individuals in Parliament, 36 members of Parliament, have to sign their names to the candidate sheet for the nomination. Unlike in that first round where the candidate could just be nominated from one of the members, if that individual did not receive the simple majority of votes needed to win the position through voting, at that point then for the next round, just over a third of names have to sign their names to the petition to nominate Pashinyan, and in this case that would be 36 names. And so the Zarukyan Alliance with 31 seats in Parliament and the Yelk faction with 9 seats in Parliament would be able to have that number, as you would bring that up to 40 seats, so 40 names could nominate Nikol Pashinyan in that case. So that was the first announcement we heard. And then from spokesperson Bogdasaryan of the Republican Party, who you see right now on your screen, this was shot a few minutes ago. He came out to announce, after a meeting that the Republican Party held, that the Republican Party would not be nominating their own candidate, and in fact would support the candidate that would be nominated. This is slightly different than the previous announcement they had last week. The announcement last week was that they would not obstruct the nomination of Nikol Pashinyan to be the candidate for Prime Minister. They did not indicate if they were to vote for him at that time. And as we saw in yesterday's vote, the Republican Party, minus 1 person, did not vote or voted to oppose Nikol Pashinyan's candidacy for Prime Minister. Felix Tsolakian was the only Republican Party member to vote in favor of Pashinyan's candidacy. Now, again, to reiterate for everybody that's just joining us here with ＳiViLNeT TV, the Republican Party spokesperson Bogdasaryan has just announced that they will not be nominating their own candidate for the role of Prime Minister, and in fact, they will be supporting the candidate that is nominated. Now, I do want to stress that after he made his statement, a couple different reporters tried to ask the question of will they be supporting Pashinyan, or indicated that that it is Pashinyan that will be nominated. Bogdasaryan refused to acknowledge the name of the person or the individual who would be nominated. He just said whoever is nominated, that's who we're going to support. So it does seem that the support will be there, although it does not seem that it is there with the enthusiasm that others are supporting Pashinyan with, certainly those in the audience who you see clapping, as well as the statement made by Gagik Zarukyan seemed much more in support of the candidate. Bogdasaryan's statement felt much more resigned to the fact that this is the direction that things are going to go. Now, those who were watching the parliamentary session yesterday, what you saw was the Republican Party, what felt like them taking, trying to use their weight, their might that they've had and their majority to attack Nikol Pashinyan over the course of the 8-hour session that we had. It very much seemed that they were looking to discredit Pashinyan as unqualified to govern, a flip-flopper, being untrustworthy. We heard Miran Hagopian, for instance, talk about who do you trust, the man in the camouflage shirt or the man in the suit, the man that's clean-shaven or the man with the beard. A number of different types of statements were used to try and discredit Pashinyan throughout the course of the evening. Viewers on our YouTube feed who were commenting throughout, and you see the picture on your screen right now of the sheer number of people that have packed Republic Square in Yerevan. Yesterday, again, you heard from the members of parliament in their attacks, and from our chat that was happening live on the YouTube channel, from what you could hear and read online on Twitter, on Facebook. People did feel that the questions were very heavy-handed that were coming from the Republican Party, that it did feel as if they were attacks on Pashinyan. Now, again, the Republican Party, as the majority in Parliament, did have the ability to block that nomination, in which they did yesterday, using one of the mechanisms allowed to them through the Constitution. Today, what we saw, Nikol Pashinyan actually answered a question that was posed to him of, what happens if you don't get the nomination? And this was asked yesterday in Parliament during the question and answer period. He said, we're going to continue the acts of civil disobedience. And so yesterday, after the vote was made and 55 voted against the nomination, 45 for, Pashinyan made his way down to Hrabarag, Republic Square in Yerevan, to an audience that had lined up and waited since well before 11 o'clock in the morning, all the way through to 9 in the evening, having watched the proceedings on the big screens that are in the Republic Square, listening through the speakers that were set up of everything that happened. Those individuals all stayed for those hours. Reports had it at over 150,000 were there yesterday in Republic Square. From the looks of today, the video that we're seeing and the shots that we're seeing, it feels that it is bigger today. But yesterday at the rally, Nikol Pashinyan went on stage and encouraged everybody to start at 8:15 to start acts of civil disobedience. In that speech that he gave, Nikol Pashinyan at no point looked or sounded dejected. At no point did he sound defeated. He walked up to the stage and essentially said, this is a victorious day. Them blocking this vote with those numbers does not mean anything. This is victory. They feel the pressure. And he wanted people to come back out onto the streets to go even further across the country and asked for people to join in these acts of civil disobedience across the country. At one point, very interestingly, there was a question that came from the audience that very much sounded to be, Nikol, do you want us to block the interstates? And he said, yeah, go ahead, block the interstates. People were very excited to be able to join in this movement and followed Nikol and his word. And so starting at 8:15 this morning, streets, intersections, highways were all blocked. The road to Zvartnots airport was blocked. The highway to Zvartnots was blocked. Even, in fact, employees at the Zvartnots airport went on strike. And they went on strike to protest, to join the protest, and to support the movement that is taking place. You saw throughout Yerevan that demonstrators had blocked off the streets. You rarely saw a car moving in the streets. What you saw were cars blocking the roadways, the intersections. You had young and old alike out on the streets. There's pictures of young children lining up their toy cars and their toys in the middle of the street, participating as well in these actions. Again, these started early. They've kept going. At 2 o'clock, Nikol Pashinyan asked his supporters to stop, to remove the blockage of the path to the highway to Zvartnots airport, to allow for people to move in that direction. But outside of that, he asked for people to continue and to support the movement and to support the acts of civil disobedience. You have seen today a very festive and positive mood throughout the city, where people, out in front of in the intersection near where I am, you saw young individuals playing volleyball in the middle of the street and making sure nobody could come around them. Music was playing. Different organizations were helping out the protesters. By one, I believe it was the Carpet Museum of Armenia. I'm sorry if I get that wrong. We'll make sure to get that right. Provided carpets for people to sit on out on the street so that they weren't sitting on the hot asphalt. There is a photo album up on CivilNet's Facebook page where you can go and see the carpets that were laid out for the protesters to sit in. Right now, you're looking at footage of Gagik Tsarukyan and Nikol Pashinyan from the press conference they just had, where the Tsarukyan Alliance announced that they would be supporting Nikol's candidacy and, in fact, nominating Nikol Pashinyan to be the candidate for Prime Minister in the next round of elections on May 8th. To address, wanted to clarify there that the Constitution says that for the second round of elections that the vote will take place 7 days after the first one. However, that does not preclude the Parliament from scheduling to have that vote on the agenda earlier. A special session could be called ahead of May 8th. A special session could happen at any point, or in the regular session, they could add this vote to the agenda. So, again, this is going to be watching this and how it's going to move is going to be fascinating in order to see how quickly this is going to happen. The Republican Party, while saying one thing now, certainly has the time and within the framework of the Constitution has the ability to change their mind if they so desire. It could be a part of a negotiating tactic. And so while they did make the statement earlier that they will support the candidate that is nominated for the position of Prime Minister, at this point that does not mean that they will necessarily vote. As we've seen, plans could change, statements are statements, they are not acts. And so watching this process play out, there is still more to play, and we will hear from Nikol Pashinyan on the stage. You can see who is lined up here. You see Arsen Kharatian on the right, Lena Nazarian, member of Civil Contract Party. You see Araig Haruchunyan lined up there. Nikol Pashinyan on the end with Dikran Avinyan. Again, you see a number of familiar faces. The growing list of supporters. Armen Grigoryan standing there talking to Nikol now. You see the supporters growing on stage as who's joined them. You see the volume of people standing in Republic Square looking ahead. Now, again, to come back to what we said earlier, the Tsarukyan Alliance will be nominating Nikol Pashinyan to be the candidate for Prime Minister, and per the Constitution, in the second round, if somebody who's nominated in the first round of voting does not win the simple majority, they need to have a third of the candidates provide their support in writing. And so 36 names need to be signed on the paper, with 31 members of the Tsarukyan Alliance in Parliament and then 9 seats for the Yelk faction. Presumably that should not be difficult to nominate Nikol Pashinyan. The Republican Party, through a statement made by Parliament member Baghdasaryan, said that they will be supporting the candidate nominated for Prime Minister. You're watching a very excited crowd on screen, live from the Hırabarag, Republic Square. We would like to thank Azad Luchun TV for this feed that you'll be watching. You are watching CivilNet TV on YouTube. You can follow along on Twitter at CivilNet TV or on Facebook as well, where we will be providing some context, some summaries and information as to what is happening and what we can look forward to happening, or look at the different possibilities and permutations of what will happen going forward. We will be providing live simultaneous interpretation services. Once again, we would like to thank the Children of Armenia Fund. We are, I believe, all viewers, as well as our group here, thankful that this is not going to be an 8-hour session as we had yesterday in the special session of Parliament. We want to thank those that stayed with us throughout the course of the day. We know that throughout the country, people were engaged, whether it was in big groups at the Hırabarag or in cafes, restaurants, and throughout the city. You saw people on their phones watching the action take place and watching the movement and the special session take place. People nobody necessarily expected that was going to be an 8-hour session, but people were there and people stuck through it, and were excited and interested as to what was going to happen over the course of the afternoon and then into the evening. From today, in terms of what we saw on the streets, and we will get you to the stage once the speakers come on and start this process, you could see that the Republican Party yesterday, when they used the weight behind them, what they believed was their weight behind them, really ultimately at the end of it were under pressure, similar to the pressure that Serge Sarkisyan was under, which led to his resignation, seeing the volume of people and the level of support that Nikol Pashinyan had. You can see in the audience today just the volume of people that are there in support with the flags. I can tell you in my experience, you do not normally see the Armenian flag waving when you walk through the country, but people they have the flag everywhere. It is watching this movement, listening to this movement, and something that Nikol Pashinyan was talking about in his answers in Parliament yesterday, saying that this is a domestic movement and it's a movement of love for the country. You can see that being demonstrated by the people holding up the flags. Throughout the city, people are selling little flags, the little flags you can hold in your hand. You see a few of those on screen, and people are getting the large flags, putting it on their cars, carrying it over their shoulders, and looking to show their spirit and the spirit of support they have for this movement that has taken place here in Armenia over the course of almost 2 full weeks, and this is entering into the 3rd week as it is. And so, again, it is quite the movement to see, hear, and feel. Now, looking ahead, we do have, if Nikol Pashinyan is going to be confirmed and elected as the choice of prime minister here in Armenia, he has stated that what he will be looking to do is to set up an interim government, and from there they will look to enact a few different changes. Arad Mirzoyan had laid those out again yesterday in Parliament. 2 of the important steps that they're going to look to take, one is to modify the electoral code, and the second would then be to hold elections for Parliament. This is something that they have discussed, and we will see how that plays out as to what mechanisms within the framework of the Constitution they will use in order to be able to call new elections that are not snap elections. One of the ways it can happen, though, to say is that if the Parliament decides to not support the platform and agenda that the potential prime minister, in this case Nikol Pashinyan, were to bring forward, then at that case 2 votes against that against that agenda would lead to an immediate vote of no confidence, which would lead to a dissolving of the Parliament, which would then lead to snap elections. The permutations of what can happen, the processes and mechanisms available to the potential government is going to be something to watch. It is something that we will be talking about on Facebook, on our website at civilnet.am, and you can follow in both Armenian and in English, as well as Russian on our Twitter feed of what is going on, what will happen, and how the steps will go to move forward. We also want to talk a couple of things about that also took place today. The Minister of Culture, Armen Amirian, resigned earlier this afternoon from his post. There have been, earlier what happened there were a number of artists, actors who had gone to the Ministry of Culture in order to protest in front of there, calling on the Minister Amirian to join them. Minister Amirian initially said that he would be willing to talk with the protesters and to have a discussion. The protesters said that they were not interested in discussion. What they were interested in is the ministers joining the movement and supporting the movement. What happened between there and the resignation, I cannot say or report on, but thereafter in the afternoon, it came out that the Minister of Culture, Armen Amirian, did resign from his post. We have also heard that at different points, different members of the Republican Party were looking to submit their letters of resignation and resign from the party. Watching this process play out, given the timing that how close it is to what we saw yesterday in the session of Parliament, where again people felt that the Republican Party was heavy-handed in its approach, trying to show its might and its weight in how it addressed and looked to discredit Pashinyan during the process of the question-answer period and then in the speeches in the special session of Parliament. The reaction from the audience that you saw on Twitter, on Facebook, people felt that it was very heavy-handed and that it did not reflect the will of the people. That is something that, being out of touch is a comment that you heard regularly from a number of different analysts and different critiques that you saw on social media. From Pashinyan himself, he said that the party is dead. The Republican Party is dead, and that there is no party to discuss anymore, encouraging the members of the Republican Party to join the side of the people and to be on the right side of history. That was another thing that was echoed by Arad Mirzoyan when he was on stage, or not on stage, but at the podium in the parliament. The will of the people is also something Sasu Mikhailian brought up when he came on to provide his very impassioned plea to defend and support Nikol Pashinyan in his candidacy. And while the vote did not go in the favor of Nikol Pashinyan yesterday, as it was 55 against and 45 for, 53 votes are needed for the simple majority. From the announcements we've heard today, and from what Nikol Pashinyan said on stage yesterday, it does seem that at a certain level, the crowd and the movement is victorious in that the Republican Party has said that it will support Nikol Pashinyan's candidacy. We will talk some more as we go on about, again, what the Republican Party still has at its disposal and how to behave and work with the government or against the elected government and the setup of the ministers. Again, they have the majority. Will they follow the will of the people or will they follow the party line? That is going to be something to watch out for. Again, Nikol Pashinyan, once elected, there will be 15 days for the ministers to be set and for the government to set itself up to be able to work moving forward. We have Araik Haruchunyan on stage. Let us take you guys in right now to be able to hear a little bit of what's going on. We will make sure to come back, provide some more information on what's happening during the day. But for now, let's go to Yerevan State University professor and member and activist Araik Haruchunyan.
Armenian editor. Other different organizations, representatives of different organizations have joined, and I would like to mention especially the fan club of the national football team. 60 members from there have also joined us here. And now, I would like to give the floor to the member of Civil Contract Political Party, member of Yerevan City Council, Tigran Arinian. Dear friends, the free and dignified citizens of the Republic of Armenia, you all saw what happened yesterday at this discussion before the elections to the Prime Minister's post at the National Assembly of the Republic of Armenia, and you all remember now what the Republican Party representatives at the National Assembly were saying, this anti-statehood Republican Party. They were saying that Nikol Pashinyan has no experience. They were saying that Nikol Pashinyan cannot be a prime minister. But they wouldn't understand that it is not up to them to decide anymore. It's up to the people of the Republic of Armenia that has nominated its own candidate, and it is that candidate that will be appointed a prime minister by the National Assembly. Emanating from their partisan political interests, the members of the Republican faction of the National Assembly apparently have completely forgotten about the interests of the people of the Republic of Armenia and the Republic of Armenia. It means that yesterday, by not electing Nikol Pashinyan, the Prime Minister's post, they even aggravated the political crisis persisting in the Republic of Armenia. However, nevertheless, asking the ambulance and the physicians to come here to the left side. So, by forgetting the interests of the people of the Republic of Armenia, the national interests of the Republic of Armenia, those people at the National Assembly chose a very wrong path. And I hope that our powerful, non-violent, revolutionary spirit persisting here in the actions of ours have finally persuaded them, and today they will announce that they will elect Nikol Pashinyan on the 9th of May as the Prime Minister of the Republic of Armenia. A couple of words addressed to the representatives of the diaspora, those people who have been attentively following everything that's been happening here in the framework of the national movement, and we all remember that there are very good professionals in the Armenian diaspora, and I'm sure that these people have to be involved, and they are involved in the further development of the statehood and in the public administration of the Republic of Armenia. And so, my distinguished compatriots, come back to Armenia, base yourselves here, live here, and continue building and developing strong, powerful, and new Armenia. After our rally yesterday and the actions that we have taken today, certain public officials have decided to resign. Specifically, a resignation from the parliamentary membership, Grigor Avalyan, the Republican Party, a resignation by the deputy head of the Ministry of Territorial Administration, Varazdat Karapetyan. Just seconds ago, we learned that another public official, Armen Amirian, the Minister of Culture, has resigned. I'm sure that in the hours to come, after this very powerful campaign of ours, after this very powerful rally of ours, we are going to have some new resignations. You must also know that certain political powers in the Republic of Armenia have already made certain decisions today, and very soon you will hear of them. And now, I'd like to invite Karkin Haiko right here. Hello, my precious. Yesterday, on the whole nation, housekeeping announcements. So yesterday, when the whole nation was watching the TVs, looking in their computers, listening to the radio in their cars, followed everything that was happening at the National Assembly, this embarrassment really, that was happening at the National Assembly, I thought, my dears, you've been torturing us for 10 years. We can bear that for another 8 hours, no problem. Frankly, there is a serious breakthrough now, and apparently you've been informed already. You will be informed at least. However, I have to say, nevertheless, that there was only one thing that I thought of when I was looking at these Republicans. How do I hate you, really? How could ever someone think that Nikol is not the Prime Minister? How can you ever imagine that? How could you ever think of that? I was at home yesterday asking my wife whether the kids would go to school tomorrow. She said, let's see what Nikol tells us. Are we going to the grocery store? Let's see what Nikol says. People, my dear Nikol, what a calamity for our family indeed. They have to understand that we don't need their opinions of the group of people to know who our Prime Minister will be. It's Nikol. Nikol Pashinyan is de facto today and yesterday, and it's been a month already, is in the head of this country. He tells us what we will be doing tomorrow, and we unconditionally do what he tells us, following our commander-in-chief. I want to tell you something very interesting, something that I have seen myself. A child was lost, just found. So just give some space for reunification of family, please. Okay, there's one very interesting story I want to tell you about. One day when Mr. Pashinyan announced that we would start our campaigns and actions in the streets from 12 o'clock the next day, I was in the streets at 11:58 at a section with a lot of youth standing in it, and I was very attentively looking at my watch. Just 2 minutes before, nothing was happening. And then it was 11:59, nothing was happening. Exactly at 12, just as a clock, they closed the whole street. I'm asking now the physicians, pay attention. There is need for medical help here, the right side of the stage, on the left from your side. Thank you. So in a nutshell, this is what I'm trying to tell you. So I'm now asking several more ambulance vehicles to arrive at the Republic Square, because today we have an unprecedented quantity of people here. Please let the cars approach. My dears, thank you. I understand how many people are standing right now in the square, but please open the way for the ambulance. That's it. Thank you. Let us continue now. I love you. So since morning today, I've been in the city meeting activists that are in the streets from 8 o'clock in a well-organized manner, closing all the roads, bridges, streets, buildings, houses. And there was only one thing that they were all saying: we will win. Victory. I love you. Thank you, Heiko. Okay, apparently we need very many ambulance vehicles, but it means that we have to stand in a way so that there's more oxygen for you to breathe, which means we have to make several steps back, 4 or 5 steps back, no step back, but 4 or 5 steps back for oxygen, please. Here in the first rows, we need some more oxygen. So I'm asking those in the rear to make several steps back. So they have to understand that we don't need anything. So, I'm just thanking the drivers of those trucks, Kamaz trucks, that have been providing some transportation, and also for the broadcast of our demonstration. I'd like to, well, once again, we need physicians, we need doctors here, very urgently. So, dear friends, the commander will tell us what we will be doing. The commander is just kidding, but still, make 3 steps back there in the rear, because we really need some more oxygen here in the front rows. 3 steps, please. 1, 2, 3. And again. Thank you. Please let the ambulance approach. Open the way. I'd like to invite a member of Merjit Sergin or Reject Serge initiative, David Sanaseran. Good evening, victorious people. Heiko said how he hates the Republicans. I can say, I love you so much. My friends, this already former government had no other way out. They are in dire straits, and they don't know what to say. They are lying that Nikol is going to give out some lands in Artsakh. I'm now officially assuring everyone here that all the statements Nikol has made yesterday related to Artsakh, and all those statements that were made in the address of the opposition regarding Artsakh were unprecedented. I'm sure that the government has put the threshold much, much lower compared to what Nikol did yesterday. My dear people of Artsakh, this is addressed to you first of all. There are many, many commanders that have liberated Artsakh standing here in the square. They're among you right now. We've been announcing their names, and there is just another name, a squad commander, Aram Harutsunyan, who also announced his support to the people's candidate and to the people of Armenia yesterday. My dear friends, there is one more thing that I wanted to tell you about. First of all, hello, Rob. There was a president, Robert Kocharan, who would fight, who would have photos with dead lions in Sahara Desert, has appeared on the arena again. Let me now tell you why this person is concerned. Because it's been under his auspices that this vicious system was established. It is collapsing now, right in front of him. So this person is concerned. He's worried because he is trying to organize another 1st of March here in Armenia. But he can clearly see the ignorance on the part of the Armenian people against any plan or attempt of his. So pack up and shut up. These people has sent you far away to the abyss and may send you there again. So once again, we all chant right now. He has no shame indeed. That's done. He is done. And by the way, they were trying to bring some help from other countries, shamefully, trying to find help in Azerbaijan, like the last rascals. So let everyone know that there's no country in the world, either Azerbaijan or any other country, may anyhow intervene into the process. They may never terminate this process that has been started by the people. We are the rulers of this country.
You were just watching David Sanasaryan from the stage in Republic Square in Yerevan. This is the day after the first round of voting for the position of prime minister took place. From the size, or from the image that you're seeing now, the audience is certainly growing in size from what we've seen in the past. Harutsunyan now on stage, he's introducing individuals and bringing up speakers. We did want to talk a little bit, though, about the excitement that you see in the audience tonight. This is something that you have seen over the course of the entire day, since yesterday, really, when tens of thousands, a little bit over 100,000 possibly, were waiting in Republic Square for Nikol to speak after the vote took place. Nikol had a message of excitement and victory, and that message seems to have carried over throughout the day, and you see that in the audience. We want to we want to address a little bit more on that to give people a chance to truly get a feel of what they're feeling out there. Today we've heard reports from people that during the road closures, that during the different moments or different acts of civil disobedience, that it felt very much like a very festive atmosphere. I mentioned earlier that just outside in the intersection of where I am here in Yerevan, you saw that there was a number of young people playing volleyball together. You saw others sitting down, just sitting on the road, putting their backpacks in the road. We heard reports and saw pictures of people taking their work outside, literally setting up a desk in the street and putting their laptop on it and working from outside. We've had, obviously there was reports of a strike over at Zvartnots airport where people were striking in support of the movement. We actually saw a tweet earlier from Steve Rosenberg, who's with the BBC, and he said, on the road from Yerevan airport to the city center, every mile or so, there's a crowd of anti-government protesters blocking traffic. Civil disobedience, but with a party atmosphere. It feels like a national holiday. And those that are here, I believe, would attest to that. Music has been playing throughout the course of the day. Just outside of the CivilNet offices, you could hear music blasting from speakers, people dancing, celebrating. It has not felt as though yesterday was a vote that was lost. It does feel very festive and excited. People encouraged by the words that were said on stage and encouraged by the agency that they've been given is where the feelings feel to have stemmed from. People who have been talking about, or again, the words that were said in Parliament yesterday, talking about the potential for violence and issues that arose, I don't think you could say were actually felt on the street. And so, you know, we just want to convey that that was the feeling around us. It's that feeling seems to have continued here on stage in Republic Square. So let's go back to the stage now, as Harutsunyan is just passing the mic over.
Good evening, my dear friends, dear compatriots. Indeed, by the way, I've arrived in Armenia at night, and the first impression that I had, and I also shared on my Facebook page, was that I was really seeing new Armenia. I was seeing faces, people walking in the streets smiling, hope, reborn, that finally here in Armenia we will have the country that we've dreamt of. So the soldiers that are standing at the borders right now, protecting the peace, defending their country, will guarantee the security for everyone. I'm sure that without them, all this wouldn't have been possible. I remember not a very long time ago when Nikol started his initiative of making a step with some of his companions and made the first step. There's just 1 month, a little bit less than a month, but we can see a completely different Armenia today. We can see it already. Armenia, whose citizens are the rulers, or want to be the rulers of the future of their children, of their future. Armenians who want to see fair, independent authority, rule of law in Armenia. We also serve an example for the whole world. We have shown to the whole world how you can really do a revolution with hands raised in the air, the most peaceful, non-violent, indolent manner, and I'm truly proud of you. I'm really proud. I consider this rebirth of Armenian nation, of Armenia. To have a prime minister who has started all this would be the greatest privilege. I'm sure this person will be able to do everything that he has promised in order to establish the environment of justice in Armenia. I will vote for Nikol. Thank you, Armen. I'd like to invite European champion of judo, who also defeated the Azeri athlete in the finals, and give him the floor right now. Good evening, Armenia. At the European Judo Championship, I won the gold medal, and in the finals, my rival was from Azerbaijan. I'm sorry for speaking Russian, I cannot speak Armenian, and I really planned that. I put this task before myself, and I was thinking, it doesn't matter what happens, all the ways have to be used in order to defeat the competitor of mine, and I did it. Because if I lost, I would be now ashamed looking in the eyes of my people, and that is why I put all my efforts, all my strength, everything that I had, and I won. I defeated the representative of that country. I want to say thank you very much for being so unified, for this integrity. I'm very grateful for this opportunity. I want to tell you also that together with Vartan Rostamyan and Vartan Hovanesyan, my friend, we decided to grant this medal that we won at the European Championship to Nikol Pashinyan. This is our victory at the wrestling championship, judo, and it belongs to Nikol, I'm sure. Good evening, dear friends. It's been 30 years that I've communicated with you on live broadcasting, television, and I just want to welcome everything that's happening here and greet this triumphant people. You're really an example for the whole world. All of you have proven to the whole world that you may become the strongest nation in the days of hardships. And I'd like to thank the youth. I love you, really. And I was already broadcasting today in the morning, and I told him that this medal that you've won at the European Wrestling Championship is something that belongs to the nation. This has to be given to the person that has been elected as the strongest among Armenians, and that is the candidate of the people, Nikol Pashinyan. Thank you. My dear friends, dear Ferdinand, dear Vartan, let me tell you, I'm very excited, really, truly impressed, and I'm very glad, and I'm very happy to receive this medal. And it's been several minutes, it is on my neck, and believe me, this is really a very exciting, very emotional moment, very impressive moment for me to bear this medal of the European champion. Wrestling champion. But do not get me wrong, I cannot accept it, really. I cannot accept it because the medal of the champion has to be on the champion. And now, on behalf of the Armenian people, I announce Ferdinand Karapetyan, the champion of the European champion of wrestling. I want to present Ferdinand this medal of my step, Im Kaile.
You were just watching Ferdinand Karapetyan, who was speaking just a moment ago, who placed his European Championship medal on Nikol's neck. Ferdinand Karapetyan just won that championship, I believe, 4 days ago on April 28th. He took the gold in the European Championships in the 73 kilogram weight class, and so he was just on stage speaking and presenting his medal to Nikol. Nikol again said that he could not accept, as you heard from our interpretation, and instead gave him his medal, and Nikol provided his medal, as he said, the Imkail, my step medal, to Ferdinand. But we just wanted to let everybody know that that was Ferdinand Karapetyan of Armenia, who just become the 2018 European Judo champion at the 73 kilogram weight class. Let's go back to the stage now for some simultaneous interpretation and views there.
Barristers now that have been complaining from the justice system, judiciary system in the Republic of Armenia have today blocked all the entrances to the Ministry of Justice. And now, I'm going to give the floor to a renowned actress, Lalam Natsakanyan. Proud Armenian people, triumphant Armenian people, dignified Armenian people, greetings. They wanted to persuade us that we are humiliated, that we don't have dignity. And there is one person who came who said, you do, and we do, and we are powerful, we are eagles, we are strong. Since I've been waiting for this day since 2008. It's been 10 years now. And in all injustices, I have always struggled. I've always fought for justice. There were people, but I have not believed anyone. Nikol, I'm saying right now, I believe you. I believe Nikol because he is ready to take this great responsibility, this commitment to eliminate poverty, to stop emigration, to guarantee rule of law. Very hard things that he is planning to do. I'm sure he will. Very important words, and everyone really remembers that this struggle of ours is the struggle for dignity, to restore the dignity of the Armenian people. So let us once again applaud to one another for everything that we have done. There is one very important thing that I have to say, and then we'll turn to the most important speech of today's rally. A number of public agencies today have been calling us and telling us that we have to solve the issue. What is happening? Where? Asking the ambulance car to approach the left side of the stage. So they were calling us from some public buildings, public agencies, asking us to open certain roads, block certain other roads. Some other agencies were calling us, some public administration departments, and we were answering that if we are the power here, we are the authority, if we are the decision makers, then please make the corresponding announcements, ask us, and we will solve all these problems. If you do not recognize us as the authority in Armenia, go to Karen Karapetyan and his government and ask him to solve your problems. So now, I give the floor to the Prime Minister's candidate of the people of Armenia, Member of the Parliament, Nikol Pashinyan. My dear friends, proud citizens of the Republic of Armenia, everything that happened yesterday at the National Assembly with the Republican Party behaving that way pursued three main goals. First was the following. They hoped that by means of the Q&A, question and answer, something could happen. I don't know what. They were broadcasting it on public television. I don't know, someone had maybe released some hints. I don't know what they were thinking. Someone prompted. Someone told them something could happen during that discussion and people would change their opinion about me, about the movement. It didn't work. Next, they were hoping that by their behavior they would make us angry, they would irritate the people, and there would be possible to organize some provocations. That didn't work either. The third was that they were hoping that they would so stolidly vote against the people's candidate and would by that create the despair among the people, the disappointment, and the number of the demonstrators would reduce. What else would you want? So everything that happened today, unprecedented indeed, for our movement, as today in Yerevan and everywhere in Armenia, we had no open roads. We didn't have a single open road. Since morning, the whole country was blocked. Today, I've been receiving calls since morning from different regions of Armenia. Mayors were calling me, telling me that the road was closed at 8:15 sharp. However, the most scandalous part of it is that sensational was that Tumanyan Street in the morning today was closed by some Chinese tourists. When blocking the roads, these Chinese tourists asked for voting for the people's candidate for the post of the Prime Minister of the Republic of Armenia. This is indeed unprecedented, an unprecedented volume, scale. Frankly, I had a very long speech I prepared and with a lot of details. But then, during the day, the political situation changed. And that is why I will not present that speech, because essentially it is not even relevant anymore. I just wanted to, once again, go back to the speech by Lala Mnatsakanyan and reiterate a couple of points from it as really very important principles for the people of the Republic of Armenia. Because in this period, in recent years specifically, even after I already started my march, and generally this topic is quite actively being discussed in the country, that it's not up to the people to believe or not to believe, they say sometimes. I think that the people of the Republic of Armenia does not even need to believe any politician, because the most important result is that every single Armenian believes in himself, in his strength. I'm trying to say that I should not be misunderstood. I'm saying there is no need to believe in any politician or any political power in Armenia. Believe in yourself. Only in yourself, and only in that case you will always win, always win. the people of the Republic of Armenia has already won. And from today on, it will win. It will win. It will win. It will win. There's no other way. Victory. Now, some practical issues to be discussed. So, on the 9th of May, at the National Assembly, elections of the Prime Minister of the Republic of Armenia will take place. On the 8th, I'm sorry, 7 days after the previous one, on the 8th, I'm sorry. Okay, we'll check that. So on the 8th, provisionally, now, the elections, the Prime Minister's post, are going to take place at the National Assembly. So now, if in the first phase, the factions were nominating candidacies, and I was nominated by YELK faction of the National Assembly, then in the second phase, the candidate for the Prime Minister's post of the Republic of Armenia will be nominated by one-third of the MPs of the National Assembly. Which means we need the approval of 35 members of the parliament to put forward the candidacy. Now, just hours ago, I had a meeting at Marriott, Armenia, with the leader of Prosperous Armenia political party, Gagik Tsarukyan, and then we had a discussion with the ARF leader, Armen Rustamian, and then we all know that we all are from YELK political faction. So respectively, tomorrow, with your permission, officially, I will be nominated as the candidate for the post of the Prime Minister tomorrow, officially. By the factions of the National Assembly that I just mentioned, which are Tsarukyan Alliance, the ARF, and YELK, will sign tomorrow, will nominate me as the Prime Minister's candidate. Do you agree? Next. Today, a meeting of the Republican faction of the National Assembly has already taken place, and in result, and I don't want to bring any details, I do not want to specify this any further, but in result of their discussion, they have announced that they will support the people's candidate in the coming elections. It means if we consider the political statements made today, the people's candidate for the Prime Minister's post of the Republic of Armenia will be elected on the 8th of May. It's been practically solved. In this regard, however, this has been just announcements, statements by the corresponding factions of the National Assembly. It means that we're going to start certain actions in this regard, prepare documents, prepare a corresponding package, and finally get, after the statements made by the Republican Party, the necessary detailed information or more detailed information about the plans of the Republican Party. So, we suggest the following scenario. Tomorrow, we, neither in Yerevan nor in the regions of the Republic of Armenia, we are not going to hold any actions, we are not going to do anything, and you will be resting tomorrow. We will be working at the National Assembly, and we will try to get the necessary guarantees that the statements that I was just telling you about, specifically the one made by the Republican Party, are true. Even though I'm telling you that they have officially announced, they have stated, but still we should be vigilant. So tomorrow, no actions, nothing's happening. You're going to school tomorrow. You're doing your homework well. You're going to catch up with everything that you've been missing these days. Read the books, please. But, my dear friends, and please also follow my Facebook page, because just theoretically, there may be certain things happening that tomorrow, the second half of the day or any hour, we'll need to gather again. So, of course, I will be informing everyone by Facebook about everything that will be happening tomorrow. If everything's fine tomorrow, then you will continue having your rest and getting yourselves ready for the election of the Prime Minister. Now, on the day of the election of the Prime Minister, we will announce, and on the day of the election, we will gather not in 250 but 500,000 people. I'd like to once again recognize, I'd like to understand whether you got me right. So, in fact, all the factions of the National Assembly, at least preliminarily, have already announced that they will vote in support of the people's candidate, of me, the ARF, the Tsarkan Alliance, YELK, of course, and the Republicans will vote for the people's candidate. I don't know in full of their composition or maybe a part of them, it doesn't matter. So, as regards the political statements, they have already been made. Now, in this respect, we will stop our actions for some time and have rest, even though you're not tired, but we need to save our strength, and we have to be really ready. And all of our actions have to pursue certain goals, of course. And if we don't have any certain errand that we have to solve, then essentially we can stop with some of our actions and have some rest. So follow my Facebook page, everyone, and I will be informing you anyway. Anyway, I will be telling you about everything that will be happening at the National Assembly. I will also mention the day of the election of the Prime Minister, the 7th day, so we have to just count and understand from which day we're going to do this count, from the 1st of May or the 2nd of May. And nicely, calmly, we will go to once again record our victory. Victory. And so, long live Armenian people, the strongest people in the world. Long live citizens of Armenia, the strongest citizens of the world. Long live the Republic of Armenia, the most beautiful and the strongest republic in the world. Long live the Republic of Karabakh, that will in the end become a non-vendible part of the Republic of Armenia. My dears, I'm proud of all of you, indeed. I right now appreciate very highly what you have done. I love you all. And so, viva freedom and Republic of Armenia. Long live our children and us, who already live in free and happy Armenia. Armenia. Dear friends, I can see a lot of guests, a lot of people who have come here to celebrate with us, to congratulate us. There are famous singers here. I'd like to say one more thing. Someone feeling bad over there? Someone feeling bad? Okay, no. So, yes, now take out your phones with the lights. Just let me make a photo now, right now. Dear friends, greetings. You're strong.
You've been watching ＳիվիլՆեթ TV on YouTube, bringing you live coverage of the public rally that just took place in Republic Square in Yerevan. We'd like to thank Azadishun TV for the feed. Today, as we mentioned earlier, the atmosphere in the audience, in the streets, and you could feel it in the words and the messages conveyed from the stage, very much felt like a celebration. Nikol Pashinyan was able to announce, as was heard just before they took the stage today, that Gagik Zarukyan and the Zarukyan Alliance have agreed to nominate Nikol Pashinyan to be the candidate for Prime Minister in the next vote that will take place on May 8th. This is important because in the first round of voting for the position of Prime Minister, if no candidate receives the majority of the vote, in order to be nominated for the second round, they have to receive the signature of 35, of a third of the members of Parliament. In this case, that would be 35 members or more, in order to put that individual's name back back as the nominee for the position. And so with the Zarukyan Alliance having 31 seats in Parliament, the 9 seats in the Yelk faction, the 7 seats in the ARF Tashnak Suchun, they would have enough seats to make the nomination for Nikol Pashinyan to be in the second round of voting. And then soon after that, you heard from parliamentary member and Republican Party member and Speaker Baghdasaryan outside of his office saying that the Republican Party on May 8th will vote for the people's candidate who receives the 1/3 of the signatures to have their name in the nomination. A roundabout way of saying that they will be supporting Nikol Pashinyan on May 8th. They did not say Nikol Pashinyan by name. When they were asked by reporters afterward, they said, we will be supporting that person who was nominated with 1/3 of the signatures. This comes after yesterday's special session of Parliament, and for viewers who saw that and listened to the session, you see that the Republican Party was working to discredit Nikol in their line of questioning and worked to show their strength in the process. Ultimately, by their reaction today, you can feel that they were not necessarily thrilled with the step they were taking, but they did take that step in order to move forward. Now, again, Nikol from the stage, he mentioned that while the Republican Party did say it would support his candidacy for Prime Minister, those are just words at the moment. He indicated that tomorrow within the National Assembly there will be negotiations and discussions taking place into what the next steps will be and how those steps will be able to take place. In that vein, what he ended up telling the audience is that tomorrow, on May 3rd, there will be no acts of civil disobedience anywhere in the country. He said that tomorrow is the day for negotiation and discussion. He said instead the work will take place within the National Assembly. They will confirm that the statement provided by the Republican Party is true and that they will follow through on their actions. He then encouraged the people, though, to remain vigilant. He said, you guys will rest and we may need you down the road. He told the children watching it in the audience that you are all going to go to school. You could hear some audible groans and people laughing at the remark as over the course of these weeks, protests have taken place within every different business industry and schools as well. This was led by students in many ways within the universities, but students of all ages have joined in this movement. So he said that children, you're all going to go to school, you will catch up on what you missed, make sure you read. And then he followed that by saying, but make sure to follow my Facebook channel, Nikol's Facebook channel. He says, as there may be certain things happening, and in case people are needed to gather, he will inform people through his Facebook page. Nikol has been using his Facebook page to his great advantage throughout the course of this movement demonstration, live streaming through Facebook throughout the course of the day so people could see where he is, what he's participating in. When last night, the night before the election was to take place in Parliament, at about 2 a.m. local time, maybe just earlier than that, he came on to let the people know that he'd heard that there were potential there was potential for the Republican Party to obstruct his nomination, which went against what they had initially mentioned. And so he was able to use Facebook Live, even that late at night, to rally people to get to the Republic Square earlier than he'd indicated before. And so, again, using the reach that he has on Facebook Live as that stretches everywhere. at this point for him in his followers and people who are interested in this movement and interested in Nikol Pashinyan. He then went on to say that if all is good, you will rest and we will get ready for the elections of the Prime Minister that will take place on May 8th. He then said, we will all then gather here on that day, if needed, to either come and provide protest and demonstrate against what is taking place, if that is going to move in the negative. Or he said, we can be here 500,000 strong to celebrate. He indicated that today he believed that there's around 250,000 people in the Hrabarag. While we can't confirm that number, we can't say the images that you saw, and at the end where he asked the audience to hold their phones up, certainly indicated that there were a lot of people there. And so, we thank you for watching ＳivilNet TV. We will be back with you all tomorrow on all of our social media outlets. We will be providing conversations, articles, discussion that'll take place on Facebook and Twitter. You can follow us on SivilNet TV there. You can follow us on YouTube, as we will be providing different interviews and commentary as well. Levon Barselian came in and provided an interview here in studio today, and we will continue to do so over the course of this week and keep providing you with reports and analysis on civilnet.am. We thank you for watching us. We thank the Children of Armenia Fund for providing interpretation services. We wish you all a good night. Thank you again for watching SivilNet TV.